architectural review. My name is Todd Howard, and I serve as the chairperson of this meeting. The other members in attendance today will introduce themselves.
Peter Lentz.
Nathan Shop.
Christine Tedesco.
David Allison.
The Clemson Planning and Codes Office staff member in attendance is Jacob Peabody. The recording secretary of this meeting is Rebecca Wilbanks. BAR members are appointed by the Clemson City Council. The BAR's responsibilities focus on the design aspects of projects located within one of the 5 architectural overlay districts in the city of Clemson. A copy of the agenda for this meeting can be found in the outside lobby. If you are a member of the public and would like to speak regarding a matter on the agenda, you will need to read and sign the speaker's form. On the back of the speaker's sign-in form is a list of things that fall under the purview of the BAR and a list of things that don't. You will be asked for the signed form should you choose to speak. Anyone speaking will be required to stand at the podium, and there will be no speaking from the audience. The meeting will be conducted in the following manner. For each agenda item, the BAR will hear a report from the planning staff. After the staff report, the applicant will be given an opportunity to present their application and demonstrate that it complies with the relevant criteria. Any resident or owner of a business or property in Clemson is allowed to comment on the application and provide feedback to the BAR at each review stage. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to provide comments and feedback. Please consider appointing a spokesperson if there are multiple people wishing to speak. Please do not repeat information already presented by someone else. Questions asked by the board during a presentation will not count toward the time limit. At its discretion, the board may allow the applicant 3 minutes for rebuttal. All comments and questions must be directed to the chairperson, who will respond or direct the question to the appropriate party for response. Any written comments received by the planning office a week ago or longer have been submitted to the BAR and will be considered in its decision. After all comments are offered, the chairperson will close the hearing portion of the meeting, and the BAR will discuss and evaluate the information presented in the context of the requirements of the city code. We ask that you please turn off all cell phones or place them in the silent mode. As a reminder to board members, please avoid side conversations and crosstalk. Again, welcome to the meeting. Okay, so that brings us to the adoption of the minutes from our November meeting. I did not notice anything that needed to be changed or modified in any way, so can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of adopting the minutes from the November meeting, please raise your right hand. Okay, and so the minutes have been adopted. That moves us into our action items. We have one tonight. 2023 AR-18 applicant Ross Kistler, Project Plus, is requesting approval of a rooftop structure to the existing building at 376 College Avenue. Okay, so first we'll open it up for Jacob to report out on the project.
This project is kind of a second phase of one that was recently in front of you all. So I think you are familiar with the location. It is Zone C and in AR District 1 core. Some things I want to point out from changes from last time, where the dumpster had been located, kind of the back corner, it wouldn't work there because of overhead lines. So in the meantime, they've been using roll carts, and this is looking to come up with a new solution for that. And they're looking at those in-ground dumpsters. The only place that we could figure out to put them was kind of up near the street, and that's why we changed from doing a conventional dumpster to the in-ground dumpsters. Was the staff suggestion to try to avoid accumulation of debris and just, the unsightliness of the regular dumpster enclosures tend to, be left open and get junk in them. So if it's going to be that close up to the road, we felt that those were a better option. That and the other thing that's definitely worth pointing out is this structure is basically suspended completely over the other structure. And as such, there's supports going on what is now the outside wall to what is, there's actually a little sidewalk right up along it that is on their own property. That this would remove that sidewalk and make a planting area there with supports on the outside. Some of the technical parts of that, we might have them put in another crosswalk up farther on kind of lower side of back streets, but that's going to be worked out with the city engineer exactly how to all that type of stuff. But other than that, it does meet our criteria, and staff has no objections to the proposal, and would turn it over to the applicant.
If you would just state your name and address for us before you speak.
Ross Kistler, 123 Welborn Street, Greenville, South Carolina. Just as Jacob said, it is a freestanding structure over top of the existing building. This is phase 2 of the original project. So existing building already here, we did suspend all the way across this building and then off the back too to pick up two points of egress, so that you will kind of see on the site plan. I think y'all got the recent prints that there is a secondary stair that's dropping into that back parking lot that we've worked with Stacy Blackwell to kind of make sure that everything's in compliance and he's in agreement. And then we've been working with city staff, or I guess engineering, to kind of go through a couple other things that Jacob mentioned. So I know that's a pretty simple explanation for maybe what looks to be a little bit more complicated, but in theory, it's a simple structure, but it's just a larger structure. So.
Okay. And you're welcome in just a minute when we start discussing. I mean, you can stay at the podium, you can have a seat. We're close enough where we can ask questions. I need to see if there's any public input for this. Okay. So at this point, we just kind of open it up, ask questions, get clarifications, and then we'll discuss, and then we'll make a decision. So we'll open it up if we have any questions, comments, concerns. One of the things I was thinking about, and it has more to do with the use of the space, is access to those stairwells outside of business hours.
Yeah.
And the possibility of people getting up on the rooftop. So I tried to look carefully at everything. Do y'all have a plan for keeping people out of that space when the business is closed?
So the primary stair is right off of Ave here.
Sorry. Since I asked that way the microphone can pick it up, I'm sorry.
So the main stair that you can see in this rendering here, it's behind a lockable gate as is. So it's in that patio space that's also has a gate at the back alley. The stair off the back would need an additional kind of lock gate, and you'll see these kind of structures in larger cities, and they'll have like a full height gate that's at the bottom of the stairs that we could work on, make sure that was implemented into the plan.
Now, how will this be a manned, as far as evening when, like, people are coming and going? Like, how do you, like, on the back staircase that goes to the parking lot, how do you monitor?
How that's used?
Right.
I mean, that would be an operations question, but that would, I mean, my assumption would be that stays, you know, it's locked from the outside, only with a push bar from the inside. That it would be stopping people from going down those back stairs. I think that would have to be an operations conversation.
So that's in your understanding
That's a
secondary means.
That's an
egress.
emergency. Got it. Access point.
I have a question. You guys are done. In your 3D model, we can't see on the second floor and the floor plan on A103, there's a bar area, office, some restrooms, and egress to the back stair.
Correct.
It would be nice to have view of that from like variety frame, because we can't really see that side.
You're actually looking down onto it from some of those areas too, from the back.
And there were some renderings in that were the digital packet that
Or
were.
maybe it's covered in there.
Oh yeah, it was this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
We can't really see
Say
it.
from this area.
Yeah, if you could
Just
bring
over
that
here.
up.
Yeah, so from street view, you would catch this back corner, which would just be the metal panel. We're showing, I mean, it would be, I think honestly, we'd probably continue that darker color all the way down.
That rendering's not in our package.
Yeah, we don't have that.
It's not. Oh, you don't?
Neither one of the smaller ones.
Okay. So it's just.
Okay. So you're saying this is gonna be orange all the way down to the
No,
fibers?
I don't think it'd be orange, the sunlight's kind of, I think it would be one of these darker colors. We were proposing originally white, after kind of going by the side a few times, and just like, I think it'd be better if it's the same color as this parapet is now, and so everything kind of blends, similar material.
To follow up on that, for me, when I look at this aesthetically, that wall is the one that I'm the most concerned with. And I know when you think about like the face of the building, it's not the most prominent, but I mean, all the other spaces, the way the colors are distributed, but that solid wall, I think, is the one that, I don't know, that I kept looking back to.
Okay.
Just because it will be something visible, you know, from the apartments back behind.
I guess so.
And it is a blank wall, so that's something we might want to consider as, in terms of,
So, yeah, I guess my concerns are a little bit more substantive. I mean, first of all, I mean, I'd like to see this in context of the rest of the buildings downtown.
Okay.
So I'd like to see a street elevation. I'd like to see a view looking down from your pie, let's say, for example, down Earl Street. I mean, it just looks like an appendage onto the building as opposed to an integrated part of the building, in my opinion. I'm really concerned about these freestanding columns that go up in the air and just die. What's the purpose of those?
You're saying these out here?
Yeah.
They're supporting additional structure some electrical, some lighting that we would be suspending there.
Because I think that's, you know, I mean, it just looks, it doesn't look like it.
I mean,
It makes sense as a building to do that. I mean, you could use handrail lighting, you could use,
there's other options.
and I don't think aerial lighting like that is actually a good thing, you know, flooding the air with light, so, you know, I think we need to look at low lighting there. I'm concerned about the loss of the sidewalk. I realize it's a substandard sidewalk, but that's already a very narrow street. And I'd just like to see it in the context of the buildings along College Avenue. I mean, you know, it just seems like it's an appendage. And I'm also concerned about looking up and seeing gas heaters from below. They're not shown in the rendering.
They'd be on the back side.
Huh?
They would be towards the back, they're not here, they'd be here, kind of
Yeah, but,
shooting out.
you know, again, you know, it's part of the facade of this building, as you can see. So I guess the question.
To speak to the kind of appendage comment, I think it's somewhat intentional to do that. I think we want it to feel like it is a separate structure that kind of draws the eye, that kind of blends with what is there, but a separate structure. This, I mean, let's be honest, that is not an attractive structure to begin with.
Well, you actually did a pretty good job with it in the original proposal. I mean, of updating it. There's no, you know, and so I
Put
guess,
some lipstick on it.
I mean, yeah. You know, those are my concerns. I mean, the sidewalk, the columns going up in the air without anything on them. I guess that string lights I can just barely see. Is that what you're talking about up there?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. See, I think there could be a much more sophisticated approach to lighting.
Well, and string lights are something
You guys have to specifically allow them. They are
Yeah.
not allowed unless the board approves them.
and
Yeah.
we've
I mean, I just think that there could be a
gone
much
against
more
them. Yeah.
sophisticated lighting strategy up there.
Okay.
I mean, you know, there was a big uproar over the lens Pendleton, for example.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, I'd like to see it in the context of the other buildings along. I understand this is probably under the building envelope limits in terms of height as a building, but, you know, I guess I'm not all that happy with it, but.
I think if we could get some more model views, that would help us.
Yep.
Backing away from the building a little bit
Yep.
and down the street, as David said.
That's what I got the notes for. One from kind of coming up the hill on Earl Street looking down,
Yeah.
more from kind of farther
The other
back
direction.
on things, and then one from like, if you're
Yeah.
standing at variety frame.
Yeah, the corner of North Clemson or Sloan and, you know, looking down the street that way.
Sure.
Because they have one standing at the intersection, that bottom right one, looking.
Yep.
With variety and frame on your right. So you're saying go up the hill?
I guess my point is all the renderings are cropped, so we don't really see the building in the context of the other buildings. They're all cropped close to the building, right? So, you know, we don't see, you know, the variety frame across the street. We don't, you know, you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to understand this
You don't
building.
see the Earl Street big tall building behind it.
Yeah,
things
right.
like.
Glassing.
Yeah.
Right.
Might, yeah.
So, I mean, so, you know, I'd just like to see it in context.
Because in
Okay?
actuality, you know, that writing frame, that's a second story.
Exactly, it's a taller building, so actually it might help your case.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Mason variety frame is actually.
You put a giant tree in front
but
of
it's
it.
just at one story versus,
the Mason Hall is definitely taller.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I would agree, it would help with the idea of how it looks, because right now it looks like a big introduction to the space, but with more context.
Yeah, it might actually make it feel more in scale. So,
Yeah.
because I think right now too, you're not, like you're saying, y'all aren't seeing the big apartments back there, but I think also back streets is probably about at the same level as this, because you're climbing, that street's climbing fairly quick. And that back streets is 2 stories, so
Absolutely.
it might just blend in at that point.
Yeah.
And then I guess I have a technical question. So the roof leaks on the main building.
Correct.
How do you fix that?
How do you fix the
Well, how would you replace the roof on the original building with this structure over it?
That's a means and methods question.
Well,
I'll get a contract.
but I mean, you know, we want the building to be, you know, we don't want it to go into disrepair. You know,
Well,
it's something we have to.
It's about 4 feet tall, so it would be awkward, but they could get underneath there and replace it.
Yeah, so based on this,
In between.
yeah, based on this picture on G201, there's a decent amount of height between the actual roof surface and the bottom of the beams.
And then those beams are 2 foot deep as currently designed. So you technically have 6 feet from roof deck to
In
underside.
between, yeah.
The rendering on G201 doesn't,
No, I think that's a real picture of them.
of the parapet.
Right, but that goes above the
Yeah, so
parapet.
that gray metal.
You have all that room between the roof and the bottom of the beams. So it's,
Well, and, you know, and that was actually a concern of the one in Pendleton, is that they had to raise the, you know, it's not just the second floor, it's just not a 2-story building, it's a completely loading thing, but, okay.
Yeah, that's,
It's not gonna be easy, let's put it that way. You're gonna be,
so for me, I actually think for the building itself, you did a decent job incorporating this structure around it without it feeling like, but that's just my 2 cents. My concern is you have some tall structures, you have lighting that is no longer, you know, the higher you go with the lighting, the more it spreads. So I do think a photometric plan will have to be provided, because I think you're gonna get more spread than you realize.
We can provide that.
Because you're not at a 10-foot ceiling height with lights, you're at a 16-foot, and then you're, you know, 30 feet in the air with lights. So, you know, that's,
No, I mean, that's something that we want to be mindful of too. So we would definitely have photometric on this.
okay. And I know I would not vote personally for allowing string lights on this. And so I think, you know, as David said, that there's probably some other ways to accomplish lighting.
Sure.
It's not going to be easy because you're up in the air and you don't want a point light different places. And if you got rid of the string light and got rid of just the one orange, like totem pole out by itself, I think that would, do you some good.
There's two of them probably, right? 'Cause there's
There are
one
two,
back.
yeah.
There's two of them that stick
Yeah,
up like that.
on the back.
I mean, it looks like incomplete.
Yeah.
It just looks like,
It's a field goal.
well,
Is that good? I'm just kidding.
I don't think that's.
No, I think,
But I mean, if you light surfaces instead of air, okay, you see what I'm saying? So if you had a handrail light that lighted the floor surface,
we go ahead and
you looked at table lights that got down low, then I think that would help. I mean, the column is a non-starter for me.
That's easy. It's easy. Yeah, I can get rid of that one.
And that sidewalk, I don't know how the city codes go. I doubt it's even ADA compliant or anything else. So we're actually probably doing the city a favor by not having that sidewalk there.
I don't.
Very, very substantial. I'm not saying we're ever do a favor of taking a sidewalk, but
Well,
it's very substantial.
But of all
We're
sidewalks,
creating a safety hazard because students aren't gonna use the crosswalk to get
Well,
across.
but
They're just
you're
gonna
not
walk in the
providing,
driving lane.
but by not having a sidewalk, you're actually not, you're saying you should not be walking here. By having a sliver of a, sidewalk, you're giving permission. So then,
Our observations have been what you are saying. Basically, one person walks on the sidewalk
walks
and
on
then
the
their
street.
friend walks next to them in the street.
right.
So that's what we've been seeing there, which has actually been a bit of a concern. So we're not super against this.
Yeah.
Even though we are trying to get sidewalks everywhere we can, but this is one that's been a problem in the past.
I would even go to say, like, take a piece of railing or something to right in front of the plantings or integrate it into the plantings, create almost, not necessarily a bollard, but something that kept people from,
'Cause at night, yeah.
cutting that corner. So,
Say that one more time. So you're saying like do an elevated planer bed there, or?
no, I was just,
Well, that's an idea, but I guess we're taking a substandard street and we're making it even more substandard. is what
I'd argue we're making it better. But that's,
I think we do it.
I mean, that was some conversations we've had with Nathan in engineering, and he was in favor. We were trying to find some other solutions to other problems that were in this area as well.
Yeah, we're trying to see if there's a way that we can restripe this parking spaces there and then make a full-size sidewalk on this side. We're seeing what we can do, but.
We've gone through a couple options on
Yeah,
some other
there
things there.
But I mean, so if that's the goal, you would have less to shift over if you had the 3 feet on his property. If you're saying that your ultimate goal is to create a sidewalk on that side of the street,
If there's room, if we can make it work. We don't know.
you're actually aggravating the solution by narrowing it down even further now. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I do know what you're saying.
If there's even an option to make that work.
Yeah, we're not, absolutely.
This was part of your original plan?
There was always a plan to have a rooftop. It
But
was
we
never-
haven't seen, this is our first time.
Yeah, right,
It
right.
was we had never discussed fully spanning the building and all that. It was just the idea that there's gonna be a rooftop here.
I mean,
It'd also be nice to maybe see some type of rendering of what the space looks like up on that second floor. Since, I mean, I know most people are gonna see it from the street level, but just to get a better sense of what it looks like.
And the reason it's pulled back from the facade, just a curiosity.
It had to do with basically where we could drop columns based on the openings here and then there, just to not block that opening. I mean, the owner would love to bring it all the way to the street face if we could, and we said no.
So is the parking lot in the back staying about the same minus the one spot for the in-ground dumpsters?
Correct. We do have those stairs that we are waiting on shop drawings for how those are going to affect the potential other spot there. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah.
So we are. I mean, the way we're showing it there, it might impact that one as well. But I think we might have clear height there to be able to park there.
If not, we'll turn it into a multi-parking spot. There's a bunch of them over there all the time.
Yeah, and that's that parking lot is a little odd to begin with. It's on the owner's property. It's tough to get to. So every time I'm back there, it's really the employees that are parking there for better or for worse.
It's doing boxwoods. I don't think there's any right here. I don't see any there.
Yeah, I would love to see a rendering from Moe's, from Key Street intersection, Sloan Street intersection, and down Earl Street.
Okay.
It shows shows a variety,
Actually,
rain and the buildings surrounding it.
Not a problem.
Yeah, just think in terms of like, what is a pedestrian going to experience, or even vehicular traffic is going to experience from all the different approaches. Because in a way, it's a lot of innards of a building that are exposed, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be sensitive to how they connect to the outside. But in terms of it being, I mean, to me, it reads like a separate structure that's integrated through color, but it is what it is. Like, it's not trying to be, like, it is what it is. And I like the way the color kind of expands. You get more of that gray, more of the orange. I would agree on the 2 posts that right now go up to the second floor. I can see, chopping those off for sure.
Now, our ordinance does try to discourage monocultural plantings. There is a lot of the same plantings in this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have any suggestions as to alternatives that might work well in that situation, but the ordinance does try to discourage that kind of.
Yeah, and I was, they were having plantings to screen the in-ground dumpster units, and they have a crepe myrtle. I don't think that's an existing one, and that doesn't really do any screening on that backside. As far as plantings, the wintergreen boxwoods are pretty easy to deal with. You could, in the front, do a Duke Gardens U, which is pretty hardy, even needs less pruning than the wintergreen boxwoods. It may be nice. You could try to do something there with a small ornamental tree to help sort of provide a little filigree between the sidewalk and all the people inside. It wouldn't do, it wouldn't do a lot of screening, but it would give just a little bit of,
Are you saying on the front or on the sides?
no, on the front, in that little planting area. Yeah, right there. You could almost do, like have the U on the bottom, do like a sort of a monolithic modern planter in there as well, and then put a small tree in there.
That was actually done under phase one, under the last review. So we're not even touching that. I don't know if that needs to be readdressed.
Okay, so those
But-
plantings are already there?
They were.
Okay.
Yeah, that's those 5 boxwoods or 8 boxwoods are in place.
Okay.
So it's really the ones down the street that I believe Jacob's getting at, of just the long hedgerow.
Gotcha. Sorry, they're labeled as if they were.
I know.
being-
Once you started talking about it, I was like, I bet you I confused you.
Okay.
I mean, you know, even just something more creative. I mean, think about a green wall or something like that, or a structure, you know, along that facade. If you're gonna, I mean, just boxwoods just seems so
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that grow up tall and narrow as well. I mean, if you don't want to get architectural and want to have it planting, you know, there's,
How far does the mural, like,
Extend.
you know, in terms of those boxwoods? I'm trying to,
So
it doesn't go down the whole wall, right? It's just,
No, it's about 2/3 of that wall.
okay.
So
Can you
it,
bring that thing further? I mean, I really can't see it.
I can just hand it to you.
We can reach it a little further. We can just pass it.
There you go. I'm just blocking that.
Let's see.
So you are trying to keep the mural there.
Yeah, that was a requirement, but you know, we could work on something down here that was get some vertical.
See, I think the columns
area.
shouldn't even go above the beam line for the floor structure.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Isn't that a one-way?
In fact, I would express the beam horizontally, even over here where you've got the columns projecting up. Just bring the column
So like they're showing
to the other
cars
side of the
coming
beam
out.
or bring it to the other side of the beam.
That
I mean, that's gonna help
only
you.
goes that way.
Because you've got a horizontal band here, you know, and then you're breaking it up with these slender columns. They look
What about a
too
more
slender
substantial
for
tree
height.
here?
They're actually featured there.
Or something.
That was our structural engineer that said
It
we
looked
needed.
Well,
that.
I understand. I mean, you don't want to spend more
I mean,
on
I
steel
guess they
than
could
you
do a
need to,
steel to sell.
but aesthetically, you could break them up. You see what I'm saying?
What's back here?
Which is grass.
Have you considered taking off the right bay of the roof deck so to
Here?
save the sidewalk? Yeah.
So the reason for actually coming all the way across was not to penetrate the roof. So,
It's bad.
Oh,
so
okay.
basically, it was to.
So the
and to get all
column
way
at
to
number
the
2.
corner, or to as close to the corner of the intersection as possible.
But you have this one.
So that one does not. That
It doesn't
one's-
go all the way?
Nope, that's only supporting the roof deck above. So it allows them to stay partially operational during the construction of this project as well.
You gonna put fans up there?
As of right now, no.
Can you drop it on Earl Street?
Yep. Can you leave this up here?
So that's the current back.
Yep, this is what currently looks like. It's attractive. And those 2 Sutera units that we're talking about would basically take out this first spot. I know Jacob and I have talked about other spots, and I can't think of where there are Sutera in Clemson, but we do this.
Across from Rick's Field, that development.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they
y'all
used to
are-
have a Michi in it.
Plaza 189
Okay.
has
Y'all are familiar with them though?
Yes.
Okay.
retirement facility over on Cambridge. I forget, there's a couple of them
I
around.
just want to make sure y'all are familiar. We do them too often in Greenville, and it's
Will you pan around
don't
really
always
quickly
have
to
to
back
screen them.
streets, just so I can get a sense of the height of
I'm sorry, which way
the back streets? Okay, yeah, so you're talking, it's probably at the second story level when you,
See,
we're
you've
probably
got
slightly
some,
higher.
you've got some stairs that go down to that back door, so that planting bed will eliminate those, right?
Actually, we could stop it right there. If we needed to, we could stop right there.
Yeah, it looks like on your site plan, you're running the bushes well past that.
I don't know, that's a, I don't know if we need those stairs at this point. Actually, we would, apologize, we would use those for the Soteras.
Yeah, because they got that back door.
But we could relocate those or do something a little different there as well.
Yeah, you need some stairs.
What did you come out there with trash?
So I think in that existing, if you stay right there, Jake, do you see where the white SUV is? There's a tree behind it. There's a planting bed shown currently, but it's where those stairs come down. I think there's room for additional plantings in there as well. It could even be a silvacell with a tree of, a little bit larger tree.
Okay.
Along with this, we have enough crepe myrtles downtown Clemson. We don't need any more.
Smell like crepe.
So I would suggest something, there's plenty of street-worthy trees.
Sort of oak or.
It could, you could do a small oak, but I would suggest, we've been doing, even one of the ball cypress with a silvacell. There's maples, there's
I'll work with our landscape designer.
black gum.
Our
Yeah,
architect to
yeah, there's all
figure that out.
kinds of options there.
And so a rendering from that angle would be nice to, going down Earl.
That's the one I'm looking for from your,
And I don't know if that's a question
from your pie.
Jacob or Ross. Why not extend the roof? Could they extend the roof?
Where is that? Jacob's seen probably too many iterations of this project
Extend
already.
the roof?
The roof was,
To the goal post columns.
Oh, that's.
it was there at one point. It got removed and there was actually no roof up until the day before Jacob saw this.
There's been a lot of renderings. There's been fully roofed, no roof at all, and I don't.
But
Now,
and
partial
other
roof.
ones. So,
We don't
it's a
care for
cost.
zoning.
It's really a cost thing. This is kind of the in-between option.
I don't know. I'd like to see a rendering with the roof going to the goalposts.
Make sure they're yelling at us.
I think you're right, though, that once you have real contextual drawings that show the other buildings around, it's gonna look a lot more in scale.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be curious because whether the variety frame, by the time you get the roof and you span over the
Look how big
roof,
that
so I'll be curious to see how high it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd even love to see a street elevation taken down there.
Well, and they almost have it. They just need to put the context of like the other building in there.
We can get you that information.
Well, I think, I think it looks incomplete. And I think it's going to be misproportioned in some ways, potentially without the columns, which are meant to hold the volume, which has a missing roof.
Yeah, I'm willing to look at it either way, but it sounds like it's outside their budget to do the full roof. And I just think partly, proportionally, the columns in general make it look exceedingly tall and slender, the way they're detailed. And I just think if, and then I think there's a consistent aesthetic style between how you're dealing with is that a CLT roof? Is that what that is? What is it? What's the roof on the
That's
upper
just a
roof?
tongue and groove.
Tongue and groove?
Yeah,
But it's
it'd
a
be
steel.
applied. It'd be applied after.
Huh?
It'd be applied after on some furring chains.
But I'm just saying, the aesthetic quality of the horizontal beam that the roar is on, if there was more consistency between how it's dealt with at the roof structure and that, You see what I'm saying? So you've got this wide flange that roar is mounted on, but then you've got a different detail up here, the roof, is what's supporting the upper roof. And it just seems to me that,
It'd still be a wide flange, it's just a little bit smaller.
but again, maybe if that wrapped around and it was a plane and,
When you say wrapping around,
so, I mean, again, instead of the column interrupting the beam goes past the column in both conditions.
okay.
So, I'm trying to look at some of these different angles, and so the roof is just a single pitch roof that comes together
Creates a-
in a hip.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're controlling that water internal to that patio space, and then we're gonna
Right.
be able to underground it.
So you're draining all the water to the back.
No, it's coming down to this patio space in the middle, kind of the back left of that bottom render.
So, so the, in fact,
We're
Looking at 401.
yeah, just looking for a roof plan.
Now, if we went and continued that roof, the main roof here, all the way across through the corner, we could redirect that water in other places, maybe back onto the existing roof that we're already covering, so no additional water would technically be, other than this 20 by 20 section out here, which is already actually covered. We're tearing it off.
And would that roof line meet with the pit, you know, like if it's angled, like how will it meet the bathroom section of it?
Right now,
Like,
if we're going with what I said,
Well, like, the idea of extending that roof over all the way across.
we'd elevate it a little bit more, the bathroom would sit lower, and it would come back over top.
Okay.
So it'd be two separate structures. It's already open air, so a little bit of a gap's not gonna hurt us there.
So the bathroom's open air?
No.
Oh,
No. So,
sorry.
so if this continued over, this would just be, let's call it 2 foot higher than the roof structure of that bathroom. And so you might be able to see sunlight through there if you're standing at that
So the
bar area.
whole front roof would be, okay, higher.
Let's call it 2 feet higher.
I see why they cut it off. It's a weird roof.
And really quickly, just walk me through the roar lettering. I know I read it somewhere, but what's that gonna look like in terms of material, light on the cross beam there?
So that right here, it'd be just backlit aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's size was that 2 by.
Now, when you were saying
10 feet.
backlit, are you saying we, on College Ave in this area, we do not allow internally lit backlit. It can be backlit behind it, so it's like a halo glow behind it, but we could not have those letters as being glowing.
Correct. So
Okay.
it's basically sheet metal in the front.
Okay, good. Yeah, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the metal panel siding on the bathroom elevated, so that's like a container that sits underneath the roof, or does it go all the way up to the roof?
The current
Yeah,
parapet
the
walls?
way in which you're enclosing the bathrooms,
Correct.
huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
So can you, like, I'm trying to figure out where,
What's that material?
what's the facade above the metal panel siding on the right side elevation 4 and 4?
It's painted orange right now in the renderings.
This one here?
Yes.
Yeah, that material.
And that just stops on that facade. It doesn't wrap around.
No, based on the pitch of that roof, it kind of wraps into it, becomes the, I mean, basically the fascia there of that part of the building.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, that metal panel, we're gonna look at the color again, so we'll, you know, especially from those different views that you're talking about, so you'll see an update
This
on that.
angle right here,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that wedge.
So why does the metal panel just not go all the way up to the roof? Why do you?
That's what, I think it's gonna change. It's going to.
Because I think it just, you know, it just needs to be simplified and integrated.
You're right.
I mean, not to harp on it, but to me, I mean, I know that angle that was just spoken of, you know, that resolution will help just because it is such a visible, it just doesn't seem as refined as.
I agree.
I think you want that to disappear as much as possible.
I agree with you.
So does it need to be a box wrapped in an orange metal panel or just beige
orange.
and disappear?
I just think don't break it up any more than you need to, and just make it a simple
Agreed. And it won't, it's not,
siding material. If it's
I think-
orange, it's all
I
orange.
think this rendering is.
If it's beige, it's all beige.
Not helping us here. Because it's gonna be, I think it's the color of this parapet or this coping. So it's one of these two colors, and it's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be all of that.
Yeah, just have it
And it just needs, yeah, it becomes a continuation of what's
dark
existing.
gray. Yeah, just get it to recede out.
Oh, because it's reading orange right now, but it's actually, whatever the sun set in their rendering program, it's actually that dark bronze. It's not orange, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, we don't, I'm not painting anything bright orange, or the whole thing. These posts are. They are caught, and maybe that's hurting
I
our.
would not, I would
our
even get
stick
rid of
to-
the orange posts. I mean, you know,
Well,
We have a lot of orange.
we have enough orange.
I,
There's orange accents on the building, there's orange on the roar, there's,
If we would've,
I don't know.
I don't.
I'm not gonna die on that hill, but if you think that from, you know, if those are just all blended and you're thinking it's less, it doesn't feel as slender and then everything feels
Yeah,
right,
I think
I can get behind you on that one, but.
yeah. I think anything you can do to make it seem less.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the orange columns really detract from the fact that, hey, I've got this great rooftop up here, because your eyes go to those vertical orange columns when, you know, if I were the owner, I'd want people's eyes to go to that rooftop and not be distracted. So that,
You don't think having those vertical stands out takes your eye up?
No.
No,
It just
it's-
makes it look fragmented.
I
and
feel like I'm gonna
incomplete.
be slapped by them.
Yeah, the whole structural scheme should be consistent, in my opinion.
And the other thing with the lighting, I keep looking at the lighting up there, and I wonder if it might be interesting to have a light that only lights the ceiling of the roof top, not instead of these down lights. I wonder how that would, so that it almost would make the roof kind of float.
So the light would shoot up onto the.
It's only going up, yeah.
Yeah, well, or that, and that with the handrail light that
Yeah,
lights the
it's
floor.
be a little more subtle.
It would definitely draw more attention to the kind of the, yeah.
Because then it could be this beautiful floating roof, you know?
Sure.
And then,
If you did that, I could get behind the orange column, because then you'd have kind of floating plane. I like
and
that idea.
you think about, okay, are there gonna be tables up there that are standing height only? And if that's the case, you could put a light on each table. We don't know what's gonna happen there, you know? But there's a lot of ways you can do lighting, certainly.
No,
Well, we gotta make sure egress there, but
no.
enough light for that, but after that, yes.
The area with no roof, I know I've heard a lot of concern from the board about that, like the massing just being kind of off in that area. I'm almost assuming that once this actually gets built, you're gonna be putting umbrellas and everything over there.
I mean, from you and I and the owners' conversations is no.
No? Okay.
That's why
If they're gonna
adding
have
this.
umbrellas in anywhere up there, they do have to be shown and
I can't
approved by
promise that,
BAR,
but,
that's what I'm saying.
That's why that roof is there now,
Okay.
is to avoid those.
Okay.
But on the open section,
I'm
no
sure you'll
umbrellas?
get a call.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
What's that?
On the open section, no umbrellas?
Correct. That's been the conversations.
If he puts umbrellas out there, does he have to come back
He's
before us?
supposed to, yeah. No,
Make
We
sure
can-
he knows.
if
I'm just
it's
wondering if
better,
like a
we just-
shade structure or something over there might make sense to take up massing, I'm not sure.
So it sounds like we want to look at other options there to,
I'd definitely like to see the roof extended
or other
As an
options.
option, just to see
Yeah.
a.
Or a shade structure.
Yeah.
Then you could use those columns that are going
So-
up.
I'm just not
To come back and present something else to y'all, though, it sounds like there's a couple options. I mean, we're just gonna present our best option. Unless there's an opportunity for kind of a breakout session where we can show you, or one or two of y'all, 3 or 4 options and say, hey, let's work through this before we
You guys
come
can,
spend more time.
you can email me them ahead of time and I can kind of run them by the board and just give you their feedback. It won't be anything official though.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we're being efficient here and,
Sure, sure.
being respectful of y'all's time, so.
Well, do you have enough feedback?
Can you? Yeah,
We can add a few more.
say it all again.
Well, I think you can understand with the nature of the structure and what it is. You know, it's just a different kind of.
We're not painting a building, we're adding a large structure to
That's so
Main Street.
exposed.
It does look much better
Yeah,
already.
and you did a good job with the lower building, so
But that roof that's a big change, from where you were.
But I would just say, make it more consistent is the big general design,
Yeah.
right? So the structure should all be consistent. I would play up the horizontals over the verticals, the slender bit of verticals. That column really bothered, this column really bothered me. I mean, if you carry a roof over it, that's one thing, but that changes your whole roof scheme completely with the slope and everything to do that.
But if it's for the better, it's all right.
Huh?
If it's for the best,
I mean, if it's in the budget, that's certainly an option I think we'd all be interested in seeing.
Okay.
But if there's no roof, I'm not big on some kind of shading structure that big orange column supports either.
What if it were a pergola or something else over that portion? Like a separate, I think,
Again,
someone else.
I think that makes it busy.
Fewer
I would present it to you,
fewer articulations and things about it would make it stronger,
Okay.
okay? More consistency
Okay.
would make it stronger, okay?
hear you loud and clear.
So really, we've talked about the roof extension, the column color, the siding color, and lighting. And planting.
And the sidewall, yeah.
Yeah, the plant, which I think some of that is going to be our approval in the city plan to determine what their goal is.
Yeah, he's working with our city engineer, because we're actually, I don't know if you saw, but we went out for, our first stage of downtown, sidewalks, going out to bid. So we are going down to final design at this point. So he's just working with the engineer to make sure that they stay consistent with our overall plan. But my understanding is I think it's probably gonna be removed, but.
So it was our conversation that we have to get approval from council though, right?
Anything to do with changing the parking spaces would have to get approval from council.
But not that sidewalk.
Not that
That
sidewalk.
sidewalk is staff level.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my understanding, but that's all goes for the city engineer. That's kind of out of my purview.
Okay, so I'll work with Nathan on that.
This work that channels you've been going through already on that.
Big things so renderings, right, from multiple
Yep.
vantage points.
Lighting.
Vertical articulation, the lighting, the color, and the treatment on the right side of the restrooms, right, that back up to Earl Street.
And the roof.
Yes, and then the possibility, what it could look like if the roof was extended. But I do agree, any other type of structure over there is just,
It's gonna feel busy.
yeah, it's not just nothing or the.
Yeah, it's gonna be too
So
busy.
nothing or the roof is what I'm hearing.
That's my inclination. And then with nothing, of course, you lose the upper post.
So just to save some time in all of this, if for whatever reason they did throw umbrellas up there, because inevitably they can say there's not gonna be umbrellas, there's probably gonna be umbrellas. If we went ahead and threw those in these renderings and got approval, they wouldn't have to come back.
That's correct.
If it was approved. Or it could be, you could approve contingent upon no umbrellas up there.
And just know
So
there's,
I'll tell you what, I'll be way more positive about extending the roof than umbrellas up there.
Oh, I agree with that, 100%.
but if you do show umbrellas, it's basically a normal, probably subtle color, no logo or branding. Yeah, they're just
Bronze.
dark bronze, square. Don't do round with scallops.
Okay,
Simple,
gotcha.
trying to blend.
And then with the
You'll have to
lighting, once
review all that
again,
down the road.
explore different lighting
Yeah,
approaches in
yeah.
terms of lighting the surfaces.
Okay?
I appreciate y'all's time and feedback. It's helpful. Glad I was the only person.
That's okay, we've gone
We are too.
long.
You get our undivided attention.
Yeah, you probably wish you were.
No, this is good. It makes next time super efficient.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, so, any staff reports?
I have something I kind of want to talk to you guys about. So there's a little alleyway between Loose Change and Triple T's. Is everyone familiar with that little alleyway there? Let me pass it out, Jed. There's a couple copies, yeah, just pass it out.
You bring it up on the screen?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's the back of the old study.
Okay. So here we go. Right here, this whole alleyway.
Can I ask a question about this previous project? Real quick.
Yeah.
Just the site plan. Does the property line actually go into the sidewalk? Is that the
Yeah.
property line?
Yep.
Oh,
That's kind of common, unfortunately.
okay. Oh,
Now, we have an easement for that one in the front. That's good.
yeah. Okay, just curious.
We actually, like, across the street, some people own out into the street, which is fun. But, so this little alleyway right here, we've been having all sorts of problems, and we are making them put up a gate. And, they're being very cooperative at this point. This is kind of the sketch of the gate we made out of metal. But they were asking if you guys had any input on colors, basically, for this thing.
Black.
I seen something dark, something
Their
excessive.
initial one was gray, but, you know,
Gray, black, yeah.
okay,
Yeah, black.
Yeah.
I mean, so what's the problem? There's security?
there's a lot of problems.
Is this solid?
It's solid.
So I would have it two-tone, like a dark bronze and a black.
So you don't want it to be able to see back in there if
Yeah,
somebody's
we don't want to
back
be
there?
seeing back there. It is unbelievably gross back there, and we don't want people going back there. Two different things.
My only concern is with the extra horizontal, like it then becomes, you have a horizontal about at 4 feet, it then becomes something that people can, climb.
Yeah, that thing is the horizontal you're seeing is not big enough for me to be able to really grab onto.
Okay.
That's a pile of sheet metal that just kind of like across.
Okay.
the
So where in plan is the gate? I
The
mean,
gate, so see basically where that white, where it changes white-wise?
Yes.
Right about there.
so right where the brick ends?
Right where the painted.
Where the paint ends.
Paint ends.
Yeah,
Oh, right here in the corner.
no, right there. It's all cement block.
No, but I'm
A
saying,
different view.
so
It's right there, I think they're talking.
so it does recess back in there is what I'm saying. Okay.
Yes, it's recessed back in there about 2 feet.
Kind of where that little divot in the.
It should be recessed is what I'm seeing the brick on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where it should be if that aligns with that other.
You know, over here?
It's
Yeah.
not quite that far.
We weren't planning on going that far because.
That's fine, as long as it recesses. I think it should recess, and I
Yeah,
think,
we wanted it recessed for kind of appearances, but we didn't want it too far back because we don't want people going there and peeing,
right.
to be honest.
Is it a dead end?
It opens up back there. There's actually ways to sneak through to other buildings too.
So, but are you gonna close off the back end of it?
Yeah,
Can you give us an aerial view? I'm just curious.
yeah, sure.
I've never actually.
Is six,
I
is
have-
six,
Open up to the
is
parking
6
lot.
feet tall enough?
People gonna go back?
You know, we've actually changed that. It's gonna be 8 feet now.
I've never been back there.
Oh, I just got lost on myself. Where am I? Okay, here we go. This is it back here. So it's quite, here's the little alleyway coming in, and it gets quite big back here, actually. You can
Wow.
actually squeeze through between these
Where's the
buildings.
other gate gonna be?
There's not really gates, it's gonna block, you can get right between these two buildings here. And there's actually a way to get through right here, right now, but that's a fence that we're gonna be making secure as well, but.
Is that a building back there?
Yep, this is the speed point that you guys, the fast point that you guys just, actually, that came out well. I don't know if you went by it.
Yeah, I know.
It looks way better than it used to. Nicely done, guys.
That's a grade change there too, right? So it's.
Yeah, it goes up once you get back here, but you can, right here is all the same grade. This is kind of an abandoned building here.
Is it- does Judge Keller own
They
that
use
building?
that
Judge Keller owns it.
They use it for storage, I think.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Wow, it is kind of big back there.
There's a lot of square footage back there.
There's a lot of square footage back there.
Bad things happen back there.
Bad things happen.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's the convenience store. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, that looks sketchy. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So, okay, so when you say two-tone, what do you mean by that?
Well, like, for example,
Where's the picture of the fence?
it's right in front of you.
Oh, right there.
Oh,
No, just saying, like, a lot of times you could do a dark bronze panel with the black iron frame,
Okay, that sounds really nice.
and it just is a, clean and sort of classy. Plus, you can get the dark bronze in an aluminum sheet.
See, which is probably what we'll end up doing for the panels.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably steel for the supports. Okay, perfect. So black with dark bronze.
So,
I have a question before we're done with this. Just a quick question. I know there was another meeting with the Kiwi Trail project that I missed.
yeah,
this is
that's
gonna
the one
be
I
8 feet.
So,
There was not necessarily a BAR meeting.
Right.
There was, the planning commission did have a meeting, the huge, it's been a hot day, actually, Jacob, I don't think they've had another meeting regarding,
Something just came out about a planning
I
commission.
think they're getting ready to have a meeting next week.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think
No.
the Kiwi Trail's on that agenda. They'll be coming back to planning commission. Yes.
Yes, they will be, they are going to be coming back before the planning commission.
that's such a high-density project. It's really,
Well, it's just, there's so many things wrong with it.
yeah.
I mean, and again, it goes to my point about those kind of projects absolutely should be jointly.
Rezoning is on the agenda for next week. Planning commission is looking at a rezoning over on 93, when you're driving towards Central, you've got that big open field and that one house in the middle of it. They're looking at doing the rezoning for that open field.
For what, more student housing or?
No, I got one to a self-storage facility.
So just
You serious?
attract all the good ones.
100%. What'd you say?
We attract all the good ones.
Currently, we don't allow it out anywhere.
So right past Ingalls? No.
No, not quite D
93.
You're on 93 headed towards, you know where the dentist office is, right before you get to Walmart.
So the auto zone or whatever that is over there, kind of further down on the left.
Let's see.
So you pass
There's a
my
pawn shop
garage,
before it. You go to, there's a pawn shop. You have like my ex's garage, pawn shop, and then. Oh yeah, I can just bring it
Kind of
up.
craftsman style building that's the.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Whenever I don't have north facing north, it always freaks me out. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So,
Self-storage building. That's cool.
yeah. This right here. This big open area here. It's all fill. It was a dump.
And they're only looking at doing it on the one side. They're not gonna do from what I think Art was telling me, they're only putting the self-storage on one side of it, they're not gonna make the whole U shape.
they own all that property.
They're thinking about buying it if they get the zone change.
It's not our purview, but I hope they don't.
So
I mean,
when is that meeting?
What?
When is that?
I mean, the zone change is going for the planning commission next week.
Monday.
I
It
mean,
would-
that could be so much better use than a storage unit.
In the Clemson Next plan, what was that?
It's not addressed.
They didn't go up there.
This is a tough one because it is fill. There's a Burger King buried there. It was a licensed dump. So there's very few things that can be built there. Like the dentist's office here, they ended up having to excavate around 30 feet.
That's expensive.
Well, no matter what the structure is, you don't want it to
Yeah,
sell.
there's a Burger King in there. These guys are planning on just floating it basically, but yeah.
Okay, and so, any other business?
Nope. Yeah, we anticipate we don't know when bylaws is coming back for their PD. This is coming up for zone change, and we don't know exactly when Kiwi Trail, but probably in the next 2 months or so, Kiwi Trail will be back on the planning commission agenda.
Okay.